Good evening. My name is Sade Anderson, and I am going live on behalf of Grand Canyon University. Today, we're going to discuss special education law. We're going to talk about three significant things that happened during 1970 to today. One of the things that I noticed as I was studying was the Rehabilitation Act in 1973. And that just like guaranteed the civil right for children with disabled, children that was disabled, disabilities, cognitive disorders, things like that. It just made it possible for children to have different accommodations within the school system. Another one we're going to talk about is in 1997, the IDEA Act, and that's just Children with Individuals with Disabilities Act. Um, it also put emphasis on children with disability and or disabilities to be able to be accommodated and have IEP plans. In 2020, in 2001 and 2004, there was an act called No Child Left Behind Act. And once again, it just put emphasis on children with disabilities being able to receive the education and the accommodations that they need to be successful in life. The IDEA upgraded every 5 years. So every 5 years, they added different rules and regulations that the school system had to uphold to ensure that all kids was receiving the information that they needed to receive. The next, I'm going to talk about two different laws that was implemented in the school system. One of them was the Andrew versus the Douglas County School District. In 2017, the Supreme Court, it was a Supreme Court's case, and it just was making sure that all students with disabilities were able to receive the appropriate education, because we all know that prior to 1970, education for children with students with disabilities, it wasn't a big window for them. Like, there was no rules and regulations to ensure that they received all the education that they were supposed to receive. And that's even from like the knowledge and how to modify your teaching, how to group them, their needs and their wants, technology, teachers. For instance, there wasn't even a lot of special education teachers. So this act just made sure that IEP plans were put into place, and that's just an individual plan for all students where they receive the things that they need to receive to be successful. Um, Another one was Brown versus the Board of Education, one of my favorites, to be quite honest with you, and it was just the landmark of civil rights for all, honestly, but it did put an emphasis on our children with disabilities and special education as well. And it just made sure that children received equal opportunity of all kind. They received everything that they needed within the school system. Um, yeah, okay. And so now I want to focus on two different things that happened, like as far as having to fight, right? So we all know that because special education is new. 1970 wasn't what, not even 50 years ago, so it's practically new for us. And so we know that 4.5 million students slash children were not receiving the proper education prior to 1970. And so it was like different fights that had to go on. One of the biggest fights were parents fighting and being an advocate on behalf of their children. So that was one of the fights that was going on in 1970 as well. And it was multiple landmark courts deciding about how should we move forward, how do we want to implement um, quality education for students with disabilities. And that was one of the biggest ones. We're just fighting for the rights of the children. So today I just want to talk about special education before 1970. Again, my name is Sade Anderson, Grand Canyon University. Thank you so much. Have a great day.